This short movie clip is about the missing link of the Minnesota Valley State Trail. Governor Olson was the first to propose a park along the lower Minnesota Valley in 1934. Today there is still much of the river floodplain left in a natural condition that the trail can traverse. A number of reports were produced before the trail was authorized and expanded. Senator Bill Kirchner was the sponsor of the trail legislation. The trail areas shown in red are already built. The stretch in between is the missing link. The missing link trail shown in red would provide connections north and south across the river and east and west up and down the river between the existing city and county trails shown in green. The land needed for the proposed missing link trail is nearly all owned by the city of Bloomington and the Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Refuge. Both the Wildlife Refuge and the city of Bloomington support the concept of the trail across their properties. There are only two small parcels that the trail will cross that are not public owned. They are the Minnesota Valley chapter of the Isaac Walton League and a small privately owned parcel slightly upstream. The Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Refuge Trust has the money to acquire trail access through these properties and is currently contacting the property owners. The Minnesota Department of Natural Resources has prepared this preliminary plan for that portion of the Minnesota Valley State Trail between the Bloomington Ferry Bridge in West Bloomington and the Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Refuge Visitor Center in East Bloomington, a distance of about 12 miles. This section of the trail will be along the edge of the Minnesota River and will be a two-tread trail with a natural surface single track and a 10-foot wide hard surface trail. It will cost $2.5 million to construct. Eventually, the trail will connect with Fort Snelling State Park about a mile downstream. The trail will be a vital link between neighborhoods and the river and a connection to other trails and parks. The trail will meet the requirements of the American Disabilities Act. The trail will provide recreation, get kids outside, improve bike commuter routes, and contribute money by the expenditures of trail users, plus increase awareness and appreciation of the river. No other wildland trail in America has an urban interface with 3 million people living nearby that could use the trail. The trail would have exceptional attributes such as the connections to the light rail transit station and the Wildlife Refuge Visitor Center. It would only be a short walking distance from the Mall of America. This stretch of the Minnesota Valley is rich in early history, such as Native American life, white settlement, the home of Dan Patch, hunting clubs, World War II shipbuilding, and a Japanese language school. Federal legislation authorizes the trail to go through the Minnesota Valley National Wildlife Refuge, where the land is wild and nature is preserved. A most unique value. The real special values of the Missing Link Trail are the natural landscapes of the Wildlife Refuge, its forests, the wetlands, and the bountiful wildlife itself. These nature photographs were all taken in the Minnesota Valley by Dr. Scott Sharkey, a resident of Bloomington. The Minnesota River, shown here at its confluence with the cleaner Mississippi River, contributes to the sedimentation of Lake Pepin and even affects the Gulf of Mexico. The more people that appreciate the river, the more that will support the Minnesota River cleanup. Thank you for viewing, and we hope you will support the development of the missing link portion of the Minnesota Valley State Trail.